Hello, Brookies.
Hi.
How you doing? How you
Good.
doing?
How are you?
Oh my god, I'm great. Thank you for asking. I am the Mackee Mouse.
I am Isla.
How is everybody doing? Welcome to the Storybrooke Circus, your Once Upon a Time podcast. We are very excited to be here on our 10th episode, double digits.
Oh my god, yes. I was so excited.
Let's go. It's all the sound effects, we did it. We made it to episode 10. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. How do you feel right now? What are your feelings?
It does not feel like episode 10.
It doesn't. You're right.
I feel like we just started this.
I do. At the same time, I feel like we've been doing it forever. Is that weird? That I feel like
yes,
both?
no, yeah.
Like, it's very strange. I can't put
Oh my gosh, we sound
on.
like an annoying Mormon couple. Like, oh, I feel like we've been doing this forever.
It's like
but the beginning and all at the same time.
But like it was just like yesterday when we met. Well, we genuinely hope that you are having as much fun as listening to this as we are having making it, because we are genuinely having a blast making the show, and we have no intention of stopping because it's fun as hell. That's really just where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, totes. So we have a lot to go through today. Okay. Today is going to be a big one. This might be a long episode. I preface with that in case you have some decisions to make about like splitting it up, about how you want to listen to it. But we got a lot going on. Before we get into,
we have a good split point though, which is good.
Yes, we do. It's built into the show because, okay, I should probably explain again for anybody who randomly drops into this episode.
It's still new, so I think that we can do that.
Okay, so if you're just listening to this for the first time and you're like, I'll listen to the most recent episode of this episodic, a little weird. That's okay. It's fine. We graciously accept.
It's episode 10,
your
so
listen.
hey.
Yeah, totes. So this is a show where we review Once Upon a Time, the ABC TV show that aired in 2011. It started in 2011, which was 10 years ago. It's the 10th anniversary this October. We review the show one episode at a time. We have some fun segments and stuff where we break things down. But then halfway through the show, we turn the show actually on. Isla and I are watching it via video recording, and we talk about the show live while the show is happening. So it's kind of like, if anybody knows Mystery Science Theater 3000, it's kind of like that, where they can pause the movie. That's kind of what we're going for here. We would like to start this out, because we've had some concerns in the past, like to start this out by saying we genuinely love the show. This is not a roasting show. This is not a show where we intentionally are trying to find all the bad things about it, because that's really popular to do. And no shame on any shows that do that. That's just not what this show is. We are for real fans of this show, and we are trying to break down as Isla says, the good, the bad, and the rumple of this show. Just one of my favorite things that she's ever said about this show.
We are huge fans of the show, but we also recognize that this was a show made on ABC in the early-ish 2000s. So there's some issues, and they're funny. But that's what makes the show so great, because Mackie's talked about it in episodes 1 through 9. So again, if you're tuning in for the first time, weird, but we accept. We do talk about how this is technically categorized as a soap opera.
Yeah, it is.
So it makes some things make more sense than they would if you were looking at it from a different perspective.
Yeah. That's a really good summary of how this kind of works. If you look at it from the perspective of it's a soap opera, it doesn't seem as bad. It seems like kind of on par with other soap operas, similar to like Jane the Virgin makes fun of the telenovela style of storytelling. This doesn't quite. Yeah, this isn't a comedy, so it doesn't quite take the satire road, but it definitely amps up the soap opera part of things. So if you're joining us for the first time on this 10th episode, I genuinely hope you like it so much that you will go back and binge the rest. And if you do, maybe go to Apple Podcasts and give us a review. But we'll talk about reviews and stuff later in our segment about reviews. For now, before we get into that, I do want to go back an episode and just wrap up some things from the last episode. The last episode was called True North, and it was about Hansel and Gretel. And there was just some things I found after we had finished recording that I just wanted to bring up for the next time. First of all, I talked about the actress that played the Blind Witch, who very famously was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, among other things. Beverly Hills 90210 and stuff. But actually, on the other side of the spectrum, our very young actress at the time that played Gretel, we never talked about her because she didn't have a lot of credits, but I happened to stumble upon her current social media and stuff. Her name is Carly Scott Collins, and as of this year, 2021, she is just turned 21 years old. Ripe 21. And I want to for those of you
and she looks so much older than me. Okay, great.
I just pulled up a photo for Isla to see. I'll see if I can slip it into the oh, that's right, we're recording a YouTube video. Hello, YouTube land. We're recording video.
Oh my gosh, I forgot already.
We do have a YouTube channel in case anybody wants to see these crazy pre-show antics, so we only record the first half of the show, but hello. I'll see if I can slip the visual into there, but she is like stunningly gorgeous. I mean, but what do we expect? A 21-year-old in 2021? This is what they look like. You know what I mean? They all look like this.
She's a savage.
Oh, God, no. I'm sure there's some video of her doing it somewhere. But yeah. Probably. I saved this as a surprise. I did not show this to Isla before just now. I wanted her to be surprised. Look at this. This is incredible. Like major yikes.
I look like I should be walking into English class freshman year, and these girls are like...
Yeah, they look like the supermodels that when we grew up, when we were kids, like the Cindy Crawfords of the world are now like in their 50s and 60s. But what they looked like back then are like a Holly Madison and her really, really young, you know, like
a young Reese Witherspoon. Even.
Oh yeah,
I'm over here like I'm gonna go pick up a bread bowl.
At Panera. Well, let me just grab her Instagram real quick. I don't have it right in front of me. Hold, please. Her Instagram is at Carly Collins. It's KarleyCollins. She is currently... She went down the singer-songwriter-actress lane, and she has that dark indie folk sound to her voice, right? Similar to like a Florence and the Machine, I guess, or like you know what I mean, like that dark acoustic guitar. I think she plays guitar on her Instagram. So and she's still kicking it. Go show her some love if you feel like appreciating. And
tell her we sent you.
Tell her, oh my God, tell her Storybrooke Circus, a Once Upon a Time podcast sent you to say hello. I did check her Twitter. People are still like when I think her birthday's in like February or January or something. People are still saying happy birthday to the cute little Gretel girl from Once Upon a Time. Like they're like making like, oh my God, the Gretel from Once Upon a Time, it's her birthday today. Like, and she reposts them and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's probably the biggest credit that she has. So I just thought it was really funny that she was so beautiful in the show. We talked about like her hair was so nice and like it was a wig, but like she was just this beautiful young actress that she's all grown up now and she looks great.
Right.
So the last thing before we move on to this episode, in the last episode, while I was looking at the Gretel stuff, I found out that in the original pilot, right? So this is something that I wrote, I think, in the show notes where I was like, so these two random kids, Ava and whatever his name is in Storybrooke, randomly show up for the first time. Never see these kids before, but we assume they're living underground somewhere or in this abandoned house. Well, it turns out I had that thought. I wasn't the only one who had that thought. In the pilot script, when the War Council is debating on how to stop the Evil Queen's curse in the Enchanted Forest, the woodcutter and the two kids are supposed to have walked in when the enchanted tree is walked in from Geppetto. They're supposed to walk in with him, and the blue fairy comes in, and it was cut. So they were actually supposed to show up in the pilot so that when we see them in this 9th episode, that we'd be like, oh yeah, I remember them from that what they were going to do in the end of the curse.
Oh. So well, that would have been a little bit more relevant.
I'm sure that from a movie storytelling perspective, that they probably had some ideas of things like that to do, and because this is not a movie and it's TV, they probably had to cut quite a bit of those types of things when it came down to show is 36 minutes. I mean, it needs to be 28. What do we cut? You know what I mean? Or we only have so much shooting time today. Can we fit this shot in? Nope, sorry. And it just goes out the window. And somebody on Wikipedia finds out that that's a thing, and then they put it on here. I don't know what this... I mean, it has a footnote of a source, but as this is not an encyclopedia podcast, I don't really care. I'm just happy that it's there. Anyway, so that's kind of our previous episode footnotes. If it becomes a thing, maybe I'll make a segment out of it and make a cool stinger, but for now that was the first one, so we're not going to bother. So this is the time where we get into our section that we like to call the Storybrooke Daily Mirror. Our good old newsboys are handing out those Daily Mirror newspapers. For those of you who don't know, the Storybrooke Daily Mirror is a fictional newspaper in the world of Storybrooke. In our world of the Storybrooke Circus, the Storybrooke Daily Mirror is the place where you go, not go, but it's the thing that you enter when you send us stuff, somehow via Discord or Instagram or different
Consider
places
yourself
on the
a
internet.
journalist.
Yeah, you're submitting to the Storybrooke Daily Mirror fictional newspaper.
You're like freelancing for the Daily Mirror, and we appreciate every entry.
Like a regular old Peter Parker for the... What newspaper does he?
I have no idea.
The Daily Bugle, I guess? Okay. Isla, would you like to tell the fine people, as we do, how do they get into the Storybrooke Daily Mirror?
We're going to start off by writing a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts.
Check.
You can always submit a 5-star review.
Yes.
You need to add some meat to that sandwich. Write something before you hit submit on that.
A written review. That's important.
We have a voicemail. We will not answer when you call. You will leave us a message and we will play it on the air. Mackee, what is that phone number?
Yes, the number is 207-536-8512 for you area code savvy nerds. 207 is the area code for Maine, just as Storybrooke is. So we have a Storybrooke, Maine area code that I made up, but is real. 207-536-8512. As Isla said, we will not answer. You will hear my weird voice rambling a weird voicemail message to you, and then you can just leave us a message just saying that you like the show, or if you want to contribute something to the previous episode, you want to pick your own most valuable player, you want to rate the episode, any of that stuff. We would love to.
We also have discovered, I don't know if that's been confirmed, that you can text that phone number.
Oh my god, yes, thank you for reminding me. As it's a regular phone number, I found out you can totally message it a message too. So if you have like voice anxiety where you don't want to like hear your own voice on the air or something like that, totally give it a text message, and we've tried it out. It totally works. So yes, I'm gonna
text
stop
us,
saying
call
totally.
us, beep us if you want to reach us.
Boom.
You also can reach out to us via DMs. We're on the Instas.
Yep.
At the SBC Pod.
Yep.
Our email is the same, thesbcpod@gmail.com. Write us, a letter? I would love that, honestly.
Honestly, if you just write a one sentence that just says, "Hey, cool show," we'll literally read that on the air. I will.
And we'll love every second of it.
And it is much appreciated. But we would like to hear your thoughts. Is really what we're getting at here.
And if none of that appeals to you, even though I've listed a lot of options, we have a Discord.
Oh my god, the most important one of all of them, the Discord. We call it affectionately the Brookies, as that is what all of you are. Yeah, we are all the Brookies. We are the members of
listening.
Storybrooke.
You are also a Brookie.
Yeah.
If you listen to 30 seconds of our podcast, you are
a Brookie. Honorary Brookie. If you don't know what a Discord is, it is just a chat room where we have separate channels that have themes. So you can talk about podcasts, you can talk about your pets, you can put memes in, you can do whatever you want. And it's kind of a little party room where we all just hang out and talk in between episodes. And Isla and I, myself, we are on the Discord, so you can talk directly to us. And we are pretty good about responding pretty quickly. And there's a whole bunch of other listeners that are on there who contribute to the show all the time. In fact, that is part of who contributed to the Storybrooke Daily Mirror is our Discord members. If you would like to join the Discord, we're going to leave a link in. We have actually quite a few links in the show notes, so you can go there. Or you can just message us at one of those places that I just mentioned, and we will point you in the right direction. But it is a great place to be. Come join the Discord. Speaking of the Discord, so today's Storybrooke Daily Mirror entry, we have a few. We'd like to give some shout-outs to some members of the Discord. Miranda has made us a tracking sheet that tracks the MVP of each episode. At the end of each episode, we name an MVP for Storybrooke and an MVP for the Enchanted Forest. And she was nice enough to, she does data entry type, data visualization stuff. So she was like, I love doing this, let me do it for you. And so she's made kind of a spreadsheet type of thing that she will be uploading soon, which is so cool because now we're going to get to track.
We're so excited. Like, this is nerd stuff that I get nerdy over.
I love it. And so we, halfway through our first 9 episodes, we decided that it would be appropriate to name an MVP for both the Storybrooke part of the show and for the Enchanted Forest part of the show, because they can be different people because the storylines are kind of going off in different directions. So once she makes this tracking sheet, we're going to go back and we're going to dedicate a part of the show to naming the missing ones. Like for one episode, I think we named Rumpelstiltskin, so we have a missing Storybrooke one. We're going to have to name that. Or we have a Storybrooke one and no Enchanted Forest. So we're going to fill in those holes, but now that we have a tracking sheet, we can see where the holes are. And I'm so excited that anybody even cares about our show enough to do this. I'm like really hyped about that. And along the same lines, one of our listeners, Taryn, which we have talked about on the show before, who made a drinking game rule sheet, I guess, so that we can actually
playbook.
Follow.
I don't even know what we call it.
I'm actually going to pull it up on Discord too, so that I can, because I'm the one triggering the sound effects and I always forget. So those things are happening in Discord. We have people contributing to our little party. In addition to just people submitting stuff, sorry, there was a gnat. I realized I was on video too, and I was like, I got to explain whatever the hell I just did. Sorry. There was a conversation in Discord that erupted when our last episode happened that we are so excited about, because people started really getting into some content of the episode, which was the question of what Regina's intention was behind finding a house placement for these kids who she knows full well are Enchanted Forest people outside of Storybrooke to Boston or to areas around town. She knows they can't leave. So they were like, what's the deal? They brought up things like, is Regina just evil and wants something bad to happen to them, so she's sending them away? Or is it like a cover so that Regina can just maintain that like the area outside of Storybrooke is totally fair game? Like she has to, as the mayor, she can't be like, it's weird if you leave town or else you would give it away, right? So she has to like maintain this like, go to Boston, whatever, I don't care. You know what I mean?
Or the interesting theory that if you're with the savior, you can leave.
Right, because the savior can leave, yeah.
You know, there's just so many possibilities. And to explain how excited we were, Mackee and I texted each other at almost the same time. We were like, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's finally happening.
This is what
people are talking. This is it. This is, and we're so happy. So please don't stop, because
please never stop. Cry. All of the brookies who are currently in the Discord already, please don't stop what you're doing. This is your official shout out during the show. We love you guys. Thank you so much for having that conversation, for starting that conversation. Thank you for
straightening my hair. I'm like, oh my god, this was a good thought.
Yeah,
good thought, Chris. Love that.
By the way, we both contribute to these conversations, and we don't just let them talk. Like, we totally get in on it. This is the reason we started this show, like, because we wanted to converse with other people who are fans.
Yeah, like, it's a big watch party. So I don't know. And I know that we have some brookies that are watching Once Upon a Time for the first time with us.
Yes,
and that's even better, because it's like, this is a first time perspective. There are things that are fresh on their mind that we overlook. So it's just really cool to go back to and talk about. So come join the Discord. Come let us know your thoughts and feelings. Yes. We accept all of them.
Yes. Please and thank you. I know we sound like we're begging, but it's really a fun time. It's
really because it's fun.
And it's one of those things where when you like throw a party, like the more people are in the party, the more fun it'll be. You know, that's why we're so kind of pseudo aggressive about getting more people in there, because that conversation gets so much better when we have even more thoughts on that or other parts of the episode to get people going. So that's kind of our Discord pitch. We love you guys in Discord. Thank you again for participating. In addition to the Discord, we also mentioned that if you leave us a voicemail, we'll play it on the air, and we have a voicemail this episode, which I'm so pumped about. I'm sorry that I'm stuttering. I'm looking around to make sure that when I play this, the audio is actually going to play in the right place. I think it will. It looks like it will. Okay, so we have a call from a fan and a longtime listener of the show that we love, Caroline. So let's listen to Caroline's thoughts.
What's up, Brookies? It's Caroline. It's Caroline, y'all, fame, which there's not really fame. But there could be one day be fame, so I'm just going to put that there in the universe. So I'm calling to say, hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all doing good? So I just actually paused the episode to call y'all and tell you this, and then I got distracted, and then life happened, and so I still need to go back and finish the episode. But okay, so a couple things. One, I am not.
I can just cut and recut this in. Can you not hear it at all, or is it just low?
It's just really quiet.
Oh, I know why. Because it's coming out of my headphones. Hold on. I shut that off so that you wouldn't get double audio.
I'm also like so deaf, so that's...
It's not rewatching the episodes.
Now I can hear her.
So yes. It wasn't... You were hearing it bleeding from my headphones into the mic.
Oh.
Yeah, it was just shut off. I'll just make a hard cut there. It's fine. It's also a little hard to understand her because it's a little muffled. Like it's... The quality isn't great, but...
Yeah.
All right.
What's up, Brookies? It's Caroline. It's Caroline, y'all, fame. Which there's not really fame. But there could be one day be fame, so I'm just going to put that there in the universe. So I'm calling to say, hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all doing good? So I just actually paused the episode to call y'all and tell you this, and then I got distracted, and then life happened, and so I still need to go back and finish the episode. But okay, so a couple things. One, I am not actually rewatching the episodes as you guys are. I actually just finished a big rewatch last year, and because 2020, it was 2020. So obviously you rewatch your comfort shows about 7 times.
Accurate.
So I
Respect.
am just listening along, and it is definitely a different perspective and stretches the imagination because I'm having to see it in my mind's eye as you guys are talking about it. So highly recommend that everybody do that for at least one episode. Also, so y'all were talking about how creepy the Brothers Grimm's versions of the fairy tales are, and I wanted to share that I wrote an entire paper on fairy tales when I was in graduate school because of a class I was in. That's not a backstory you need. But I talked about Once Upon a Time and its interpretations of the stories.
Interesting.
And I also talked about how dark it was. So, fun fact, Aurora was sexually assaulted because the king wanted her to marry him and not the prince. So it definitely gets extremely dark.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a bigger fan of Disney's retelling of all the things. But anyways,
very thankful for that.
Great episode already, of course. I need to finish the rest, and it has been fun listening to you guys for the past 9 episodes. And guess what? When this is being played, you're on number 10, which is so awesome. So, lots of love to you guys, Mackee, Isla. I've been a big fan for a long time. So, all right, peace out, y'all. Peace out, Brookies. Bye.
Thank you for that lovely voicemail. Lovely.
Thank you for also celebrating 10 episodes.
Yes.
I love that we're all just celebrating that.
That's great. This is a celebration. This is a great milestone for us. I think we just crossed over 700 plays, which I hate that it sounds like I'm flexing, but we're really proud of where it's come in 10 episodes. We did work to get there, and we're really proud of where we are, and we love hearing that people out there like what we're doing via voicemails and emails and DMs and stuff. I'm glad that it's working.
I feel very validated that she said that she's not watching the show, she's just listening. So
yeah.
This works then. If you can just listen to our podcast and still follow along and enjoy it, then that makes me really happy. That
was actually, and I'm really glad that she mentioned that, because that was a really big selling point that I had on doing this podcast this way. I follow a couple of podcasts that do this, and I know a ton of podcasts that do TV reviews, and for various reasons don't listen to the show on the air. There's a lot of copyright things and whatever, but this is just a fun podcast. We're not making money off of copyrighted material or anything. This is just for fun. But there are a couple podcasts that I listen to that do this, and it so piqued my interest because, like Caroline said, I can visualize what is going on, especially when the hosts are good about describing things in silence, and you can, and if you've seen it already at some point, it's really fun to just it's almost like listening to an audiobook that you've read already. You know what I mean? Or an audiobook of a movie that you've seen, like a Harry Potter or something like that. You can visualize it as he's saying it because you've seen it once. So it's kind of I like that other people like that because I was a little concerned. I wasn't sure if I was just the only one. And so thank you for validating both of us. We appreciate your contribution and this nice informative little piece about Aurora and the Dark Brothers Grimm stuff. Like, yeah, I
knew it was bad.
It's real bad. It's
but
like that. So now
when you just when you say it out loud, I think it's worse. I don't know. Ugh.
So doesn't the Red Riding Hood stuff make sense now, right? If that was the context of like a Sleeping Beauty, so that's kind of a lot of their stuff was like that. I would love to do a little bit of research on like why it was so aggressive. Like what was what made
everything was then though.
Yeah, it's really weird. But yeah, we're on episode 10 and Caroline's listening along. So if you'd like to leave a voicemail just like that and hear it on the air, again, it's 207-536-8512 and that will happen to you.
Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you again so much. So now we get to finally do some show info. We are at 26 minutes already, and we're getting in there.
Whoops.
Okay, so today's episode, we're obviously doing the 10th recorded episode of Once Upon a Time, episode 10 in season 1. It is called 7:15 a.m. That will become important later. It's a line in the show. January 22nd, 2012 is when this aired. It was written by the OG Edward Kitsis and Adam Horowitz, so it's going to be good.
Yes, our men.
And I'd like to do a little side note here. There was a teleplay for this episode by Daniel T. Thompson. So I just want to explain really quick for anybody who doesn't understand the difference in television writing. If the person who wrote the story, and when I say story, I'm talking about the themes and the general flow of information, like the characters have to move from A to B by the time the end of the episode happens. So the general flow of like how, like chess pieces, right, of where things move, that's the story. But the teleplay is the actual script that the actors will read, so it has their names. Charming says blah 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 blah, and then it'll say some stage direction like Snow White moves closer to him and whispers in his ear. That's the teleplay. That's the actual transcription of what's going on, including camera moves and time of day and all that other stuff. So if the person who wrote the physical dialogue and the script is different from the person who wrote the story, they will do both a story by or written by, and then a separate teleplay credit. So for this one, the OG guys, Edward and Adam, wrote the story, but they did not write the script. So the actual dialogue is responsible for Daniel T. Thompson. I know that's like a weird nerd side thing, but in case anybody's interested in like film production and like how it works, that is the explanation for the credit. It's directed by Ralph Hemmicker, and the character backstory is not Hansel and Gretel, as my notes say. It is Snow White and Prince Charming. So we are getting into basically I'll get into this during production notes, but we're getting into the continuation of the love triangle between Snow White, Charming, and Mary Margaret, David, and Catherine, Snow White, Charming, and Abigail.
Whatever her name is.
I always say the wrong one.
She's so forgettable.
Yeah, she's also...
What a shame.
So this is kind of connecting all of the Snow and Charming timelines together, forward and after. Sorry, behind and forward. And I will explain the timeline stuff when we get into talking about time. The synopsis of this episode is Mary Margaret and David continue to grapple with their unrequited love, and Emma and Regina grow suspicious over a mysterious new stranger in town. As you recall, we had that bombshell of the stranger come in the last 30 seconds of the episode, and we're like, what? Who is this guy? And how did he get in the storybook? So this is all about who is this dude? Meanwhile, in the fairy tale land, I'm going to really get tired of saying that. By the way, that's in every synopsis in this season. They say it like that. So I'm going to stop saying that. Snow White yearns to ease her breaking heart as Prince Charming's wedding to King Midas's daughter approaches. So as you recall, in the Enchanted Forest, the last we saw, Charming and Snow met, and Charming was on his way. He's engaged to this girl, so they met. He let her go, and now we're up to the part where he's supposed to be marrying Abigail, and so that's the part of the story we're at. So now we get into a segment. My favorite segment, because I'm a nerd, and feel free to skip this segment if you are not nerdy like me and Isla. And it is called Production Notes. Production notes. This is a segment where I pull out every bit of behind-the-scenes trivia information and little kind of tidbits. I don't pull out every single one, but I pull out all the ones that are interesting. And let me tell you, this episode is chock full of some really interesting stuff. It is. This is like 2 pages long, so I'm going to try and get through these as quickly as I can. But there's actually a lot of really interesting content in here, and this is just the stuff that's interesting. There's even more than this, but I didn't feel like it was relevant. Okay, so this is stuff that's going to happen in the episode, so if you haven't seen the episode, we're going to have to like figure out where this makes sense when we start watching it, but if you have, this should kind of come together. So for the scene where Mary Margaret is rushing to make it to the diner in time, we have a new name for our darling Snow. We're going to call her Guinea Goodwin now, because I feel like it just has like... Guinea Goodwin. Guinea Goodwin. She was really brushing her teeth. Apparently, in real life, she hates TV shows and movies where actresses don't have real toothpaste in their mouths. I'm starting to learn that this girl has some weird, quirky things.
I feel like Guinea is an odd duck.
She seems like, based on some of these little trivia notes, I'm like, this is a little weird. It's a little bit weird.
We're going to get into the other one, but she's...
Yeah.
Odd.
For sure. The volcano that Mary Margaret says that she's making with her students, she references, it was present in her classroom in The Heart is a Lonely Hunter, R.I.P. Graham, R.I.P. Oh. Let's pour one out.
Our boy.
Apparently she references this volcano, and it's in the room when they're having their very strange conversation where he's saying, don't you feel like you remember like a previous life? And she's like, you're having an aneurysm, bro. And we're like, no, this is real. This is apparently the first episode in which Rumpelstiltskin appears, but his counterpart, Mr. Gold, does not. They like to really point out a lot of like, oh, this, like he appears here, but not here. Like the counterpart doesn't. I don't know that it's that important, but there's a lot of really interesting things with birds. So this is obviously a Snow episode. So we get into obviously in the movie and in the story, she has a thing with birds, little cute birds. Several different birds doubled as the injured dove that Mary Margaret rescues. The bird used to film the scene where Mary Margaret finds the injured dove. I love this because you're going to get a lot of this in this episode. The dove that's used is named Chester. They have names. Okay. Chester. Another bird is called Buster. The birds were real homing pigeons. And when they were eventually released, like when they were done, they flew to their homes several hours away. The rest of the flock was CGI. So Chester and Buster, the homing pigeons. I love that. Like, I love that it's real. When you give them names, it's real. You know what I mean?
And like, are they in like the cast?
I wonder that. I'll look and see if they're listed. Actually, I can just look right here. They are not, which makes sense because they're not required.
Oh my god,
be.
Justice for Chester and Buster.
Missed opportunity there, yeah. But I love when they give them names, and there's a couple other animals in here that I think will get names as well. Also, they talk about the North Atlantic dove. Described by Dr. Thatcher. It's described as a migratory species very unique among American doves, which forms these strong monogamous bonds. This is the lobster thing, right? They had to give these doves. Apparently it doesn't exist. It's a fictional species that was created for the show. Doesn't exist in real life. Very interesting. Like, they couldn't find a dove that does that. Apparently that doesn't. I don't know if it's just not a thing, so they just made one up. But
that is wild.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. There's some cut content here, right? So Snow White receives a letter from Prince Charming. And originally, it was filmed with Charming as a kind of a background silhouette, and Snow White is pacing back and forth. I guess they couldn't tape it, or they taped it and they cut it, so it does not appear that way in the show. And while shooting that scene, Josh Dallas, this did happen, he was sitting off camera reading the letter to her so that she could react to it, which is... How could they not have fallen in love? Like, are you kidding me? Jeez. It says the filming crew had no script. So good Lord, he improvised different versions of the letter by saying things he liked about her. Is this not the most adorable thing you've ever heard? Honestly.
And like, were they together at this point?
No, because they got together at the end of season 1. They were already confirmed dating in between the 2 seasons. So I have to think some of this, like, you would not fall in love with a guy who, like, And it's cute little things like that, right? Where you're like, we don't have a script, and Josh is like, don't worry, I got this. And he just improvises these like beautiful things that as an actress, you can clearly see him like saying to her, even though it's really about Snow White. Like, I can see that happening. Maybe I'm just a hopeless romantic, but in my brain, that's how that goes down, right?
They're still together, so I think we can be a little bit hopeless romantic about it.
I think so. Like, that really, like, it really genuinely melts my heart. Oh my God, I have a sound effect for that. I think, somewhere. Sort of?
No.
I don't like it. Cut that from the record. Okay.
That's not it.
While filming the scene where Snow White tries to escape King George's dungeon, oh my God, spoilers. Ginny Goodwin got splinters from all the climbing. Okay, so this is not the first time we've talked about her getting hurt.
Okay, I think I like Josh Dallas, but I think Ginny Good is kind of odd.
Yeah, I agree. But they're still together, so I trust his judgment. Fake rain was used for the scene where Mary Margaret releases the dove. The water could not be heated, since using heated rain in that kind of weather would have created steam that would have gotten in the way of the cameras. So the rain was very cold. So I really like, that seems like a stupid fact. I like things like that because I like to see, now that we know that the rain for a fact was cold, I like to see people who are in it, if they react different, or if you can read on somebody's face, like, like now that we know the inside info. Here's another animal piece. The horse that Josh Dallas rides in the scene where he meets Red Riding Hood is called Adela. Love it. I love it when I know the animals' names, when I see them. I don't know why that tickles my fancy so much. Okay. I'm just going to break this down real quick. It's just this one. We have a time check now. The time check is when we talk about where in the timeline everything falls. Now, we're going to... I haven't even told Isla this. I just decided myself. Isla, per your approval, I think it would be a really cool thing for us to do. If one of the times, perhaps before the season finale or something, we can do an episode that's just dedicated to, or maybe not even this season, because we need to get a little bit more into the future seasons to fill the timeline in completely. Because it's really important that everything that we've seen in the Forbidden Forest, we're going to go way further backwards from there, like way further. So I think it'd be really cool for us to do a timeline dedicated episode where we kind of figure out where in those episodes were, because they jump all over from season to season, episode to episode, that the timeline in order from this to this is what actually happened. We could do kind of a summary.
Okay, we'll call it the Jeremy Bearimy episode.
Oh my God, Jeremy Bearimy. For those of you the Good Place fans, Jeremy Bearimy is our lovely reference to time getting wibbly wobbly.
I approve. We will have the Jeremy Bearimy episode. Stay tuned, Bergies.
Approved. Okay, so time check. The majority of these Enchanted Forest flashbacks. So, the last episode that we saw was Snow Falls. That was the last Snow Charming episode. That was when they met. It happens concurrently with True North. So, Hansel and Gretel, all that Hansel and Gretel stuff, and Snow Falls was happening at the same time. So, while they were meeting, this is what the Queen was doing, messing around with Hansel and Gretel and the Woodcutter. After Snow Falls and True North was happening at the same time, the episode we're about to watch happens, which is 7:15 a.m., which is the continuation of now he's going to get married to Abigail, etc. And then What Happened to Frederick is an episode that's going to, I think it's in a couple episodes, maybe 11 or 13, in this season, where we then continue the Snow and Abigail and Charming Triangle or whatever. So we talk about What Happened to Frederick a bunch. We've referenced it quite a few times. It's kind of an important pivotal episode and where this particular storyline goes. We're going to do a couple things in between before we jump back into Snow and Charming. So just so that we get an idea of what's going on. And the Storybook timeline, super easy, happens all in order. So this is episode 10. The events of episode 9 happened just before the episode, the events of episode 11 are happening right after. Storybook stuff is just in order. A couple of Disney references. We have direct, Disney cartoon references. The Dwarf's Lantern features a hidden Mickey head. I'm excited about finding that one because I didn't see it the first time for sure.
That's cute.
And Prince Charming sends Snow White a message via carrier pigeon. That's a reference to the scene in Disney Snow White when Snow White sends the prince an airborne kiss via a blushing pigeon. in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Okay, so here's some fairy tale stuff, fairy tale references. Red brings some food to Snow. She brings it in a basket. That's obvious reference to the traditional fairy tale. She brings food to her grandmother in the same manner. Also, when Charming meets her at the end of the episode, he's also carrying a basket of food. They're all direct references to her fairy tale. Rumpelstiltskin refers to Snow as the fairest of them all, obvious. Mary Margaret finds an injured dove in the forest. In Snow White, a dove is among the animals that mourn when Snow White is dead.
Oh.
Yeah. Some props. I like pulling out some of the prop stuff because those are little things that prop masters do a really, really intensely detailed job at sticking things in here and there. And some prop things are actor choices that the actors... So, by the way, a prop physically is anything that the actor interacts with is props. Set design stuff are things that they don't touch. So if there's a book on a table and nobody touches it, it's part of the set. If it's a book that somebody picks up and reads, it becomes a prop because it's something that an actor handles and uses.
I didn't know there was a difference.
Yeah, and it's interesting because there's a difference in whose jurisdiction that thing belongs to. The table that the book is on is not part of the prop department, so the props people can't mess with that. The set scenic people have to mess with the desk, but the book itself, if it's touched, and if there's a book directly next to it that nobody touches, that is scenic. But you know what I mean? Like, so the people is actually kind of...
Oh my gosh.
It's a whole thing. TV production is really interesting. By the way, if anybody wonders why I know all of this stuff, I did television production. I studied to be an assistant director in New York before I left, and it was a lot of work and not necessarily my cup of tea. Very fun, but very demanding. And at the time, I was like, I don't think I can handle this. So that's kind of where I get a lot of this information from when I was actually on set. So some prop stuff. Josh Dallas... oh god, this love story gets better and better. He hand wrote Prince Charming's letter to Snow White. Okay, let me tell you something. I feel like this dude pegged her from the beginning. He was like, she's gorgeous. I need to have her in my life. And if you were Josh Dallas, you're playing Prince Charming on this show.
I know.
You think you can't find some nice gestures and stuff? Now, maybe that wasn't his choice, but the fact that she was looking at his handwriting and he is off camera with no script, improvising things that he loves about how beautiful she is, etc., etc. I just feel like that is a love story waiting to happen, and it did. They have kids.
Just want to know how everyone else on set felt. Like,
I'm sure they thought it was disgusting.
glaringly obvious, like...
Or, like, were they like the married couple that instantly you're like, oh, they belong together forever. They're, like, total OTP. So, like,
Or is it like, oh, my God, babe, do you remember, like, when we first got together, like, 3 weeks ago? Like, it felt like forever ago. Like, oh, my God, babe. Babe, what was your mom saying the other day? Oh, my God, his mom is so funny. You would love her. Oh, my God.
Is this Skinny?
Babe.
Skinny good? Is that...
That's Skinny. That's Skinny good.
I love it. I love it.
Babe, no, you don't like that sandwich. Craft services.
Based on
Josh
her,
doesn't like that.
I feel like that sounds likely. Like it could be. I don't know. I've seen some panel stuff of her, and she is as weird as Snow White, as Mary Margaret. She's kind of awky like that. Yeah. We'll have to watch some panel stuff together so you can see what I'm talking about. Like we'll one of our days. Or on my guest days, it'll be fine.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's dedicated time. We shouldn't take away from that, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. Unrelated. Props. I'm sorry. I'm not done. Josh Dallas handwrote those letters. According to himself, he had to write out several of the letters, indicating that multiple prop letters were used. And who knows if they were improvised or not. But there were several. Whatever. The spear that's... Again, girl guinea. The spear that Snow White is holding in the scene where she meets Red Riding Hood was extremely heavy. So Guinea Goodwin had to balance it herself. I don't know what it takes to balance a spear, but apparently it was too heavy for her, and so she had to get modified. I don't know. It was a thing, apparently. The strands of hair that Rumpelstiltskin pulls from Snow White's head were rigged into Guinevere's own hair so that the strands could be yanked out repeatedly because they need to do multiple takes, right? So somebody like a special effects person, or I guess a cosmetology person, rigged like a hair thing so that the hair can be plucked out. I didn't even think that that there was a thing to that. I thought you just plucked out a strand and who cares? But like there was a process. There's technology behind it. Who knows? You know, like
yeah.
Some hidden details here. As Emma and Mary Margaret are sitting at the loft table at the end of the episode, Emma, oh my God, okay, I've just remembered what this is. This is the secret thing that I refused to tell Isla beforehand because I wanted to surprise her with how friggin' awesome I thought this was. I hope I'm not overhyping this, but considering how we feel about this episode, I feel like it's going to be good. Okay, so Emma and Mary Margaret are sitting at the loft table. She is wearing a strap around her left wrist, and I really want to stop the episode and make sure that we can identify this. You ready? This is a shoelace from Sheriff Graham's boot. Emma kept his boots, missing one lace, in her office at the sheriff's Storybook Sheriff's Department. Let me explain. There's a whole backstory.
She ripped it off his dead body?
Yeah. According to Jennifer Morrison, who plays Emma Swan, a common theme that came up in memoirs she read, written by people who had been raised in the foster system. Now, I love the fact that she did some background information to like really get into the mind of like a foster system person so that she could, that's a great actor, right? Who really goes into the backstory
Wants
of
to do
the
it right.
type of person, right? It was that they held on to small significant objects that they kept with them their whole lives. Foster kids. Graham was extremely significant to Emma, so Jennifer wanted to find something that her character could keep with her in memory of him. The shoelace was something that she and Jamie Dornan came up with together while they were chatting about this idea of foster kids. So Jamie Dornan and she came up with this character backstory that she was a foster kid, so if Graham died, she would want to keep a memoir of him because that's what foster people do. So she put, and they just glaze over it. It's not even a thing in the show. It was just an actor choice she made so that if a foster person was watching this show, they would put together and find out that was, I don't even know how they would know it's the shoelace, but they would see this new thing and identify with the fact that that's a real thing that we would do. You know what I mean? Is we would take a little token, a memento that you keep with you for the rest of your life, a locket, a pin, or something that she's going to keep. And I wonder how long we noticed that she keeps this shoelace on it. But it's also been a couple episodes. We saw her last episode. It didn't appear on there. So, like, I love that they're just sticking this in a couple episodes later.
I think that's beautiful.
It is beautiful. Gorgeous. I
love that.
I bugged out when I read this. I was like, this is an incredible factoid that I really feel like everyone needs to hear. And I want to point out where it is in the episode because I think that is an actual beautiful actor choice that, you know what, goes unnoticed for the most part and goes uncongratulated. So Jennifer Morrison, when you hear this episode, know that...
Love it. Doing it right.
We love you. And we love your choices. Thank you very much. So I hope you guys loved that as much as I did. Filming locations, just a couple little quick things. Actually, the boat scene. This is funny. The boat scene was filmed there's a fake lake, right? They build in this soundstage when they're usually doing that kind of thing. Apparently, Guinea Good, she kept crashing the rowboat into the dock, so they had to put divers under the boat in wetsuits so that they could steer it because girlfriend couldn't handle the rowboat steering. Are you seeing a pattern here, too? Bless her heart.
Rough.
Bless your heart. I'm going to start doing that when she's doing clumsy shit, because, like, that's hilarious to me. Oh, my God. Guys, this is the last production now. Good Lord. Thank you for... I hope you didn't turn the episode off, because I'm just talking
They
your
probably
ear off.
did.
They're probably all gone. All right, this is the last one. As Regina is watching David and Mary Margaret, Archie Hopper's name is missing from the entrance to the building where his office is located, which apparently shows up in other things. They just didn't put it up that time. So remember, this town, a lot of it is real. It's in a real town in Canada, in British Columbia, I think. So they have to dress certain areas when they shoot. So they have to kind of take it down and put it up. It's not like a soundstage; it just lives forever. They have to kind of builds parts of it. Some of it is in CGI, but maybe that, and if that was a CGI or something, well, somebody missed it and it didn't show up. Ooh, that was the most production notes we've ever had. It was 2 pages long. I hope you guys like that. I mean, like, if you hate production notes, like call in and give us a voicemail and be like, yo, all that note stuff, take that out of there. I don't care.
That was like really interesting though.
I thought it was interesting. I love that kind of stuff. And if it's a show that I really like, I feel like this background information gives me a more full picture of what it was like to make the show. It just makes me feel more involved, you know? Anyway, that was production notes.
Production notes.
All right, so now I love the smile on your face every time we play those stingers. It makes me so happy. So now we get into a section that we affectionately call What's in the Hatch. As you know, or maybe don't know, Edward Kitsis and Adam Horowitz were executive producers and writers on Lost. So there are many, many Lost references in the show. A lot of times it's the Lost numbers, but there are a lot of references to Lost. Damon Lindelof isn't credited on the show as like an executive producer or anything, but he is very good friends with them, and so they consulted him a lot. So What's in the Hatch is when we talk about what those Lost references are in this specific episode. The very first one, the voice of the Storybrooke meteorologist, is the one and only of Lost creators, Damon Lindelof himself. I love that he this is the first time that he's directly involved in the show and in an episode where they stick his voice in, so it's great. Mary Margaret is reading The Mysterious Island by Jules Verne. This book, by the way, The Mysterious Island, is a very popular book for prop people to put in the hands of actors, especially if the story calls for it. This is obviously a reference to this main location on Lost, that it's an island, but this book is used in a lot of movies because it's this particular Jules Verne book is, I don't know, I guess they really intelligent people would be reading The Mysterious Island because it's core reading or whatever, but it shows up more than you think. Mary Margaret is grabbing an Apollo bar off the store shelf when she bumps into Catherine. The Apollo bar is the fictional candy bar of Lost. Also, we read some random production note that there's a whole thing about the Apollo bars where they were apparently real chocolate wrapped in these prop paper, right? And they were milk chocolate. And apparently, good old clumsy weirdo Guinea Good really wanted some dark chocolate. So she started unwrapping Apollo bars on set and was sad because they were all milk chocolate. That was like a story. And we were like, why didn't you just ask somebody for dark chocolate? It's like thousands of dollars of craft candy and food and stuff at the craft table. You couldn't just ask someone to bring you dark chocolate. You're an actress. Why did you do that? That's weird. I don't know why it was
so weird.
She's
so weird.
She's weird. I think the story's out on Guinea. She's a little weird. We love her, but she's a little weird. The last of the What's in the Hatch, Snow White is sitting on a tree log with branches, just like the one with Claire and Ethan. The one where Claire and Ethan sat on some of these tree log branches. Yeah, Ethan is a controversial
Bad News
topic.
Bears. Oh my gosh, he's so scary. No.
Even his name gives me chills. Lost fans, where y'all at? That's all I'm saying.
I hope you're here because we have an entire segment dedicated to you. So
I seriously, yeah. And we love Lost, and we're kind of pseudo watching it together right now. And I wish that we could do both podcasts at the same time, but it's too much work.
No.
But it's great. It's a great show. Oh my God, we did it. We made it. This is an hour long. We made an hour-long pre-show. 2 hour. I mean, you know what? This is episode 10. We're living it up. This is boom. I don't know why I rang the drink bell, but I felt like it was appropriate. So thank you for celebrating episode 10 with us, and we're finally going to now watch the episode.
We're going to try to wrap this before midnight.
Oh my God. Yeah, let's do that. All right. Are you ready? I feel like I don't need to ask that. Here we go. Let's get into the episode. And
before we get into the episode, bye YouTube.
Bye YouTube.